read every bill full before you cast your vote?
Yes, I will. I enjoy doing research. As a matter of fact, my current job is I'm a historical researcher. The Illinois Historic Preservation Agency is who I work for. And I love doing all of that meticulous research. And that's how I found out last summer about just how egregious cap and trade was by just hunkering down and going through it.
Will you vote against any legislation you have either not read or do not fully understand, and refuse to rely upon other people who were not elected by Illinoisans to decide for you?
I would rather not vote at all if I haven't read the legislation. I would have to abstain and tell them, I haven't had time. If legislators don't have enough time to read the bills, either there are too many bills or they're just too complex and too long. And as far as I'm concerned, if it can't be done simply, then it shouldn't be done. And I don't mean to sound naive about it, because I know that some issues are very complex, and I understand that. But the difficulty is making a complex issue simple and understandable. And if you can do that, then I think that that's a good piece of legislation.
Do you believe the Second Amendment guarantees the right of law-abiding citizens to own guns?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to explain any further?
I am big on the Constitution. I support the Constitution. I support the Second Amendment, and I believe that United States citizens, lawful abiding citizens, do have the right to keep and bear arms, just like the Second Amendment states.
Do you believe it is the right for taxpayer dollars to fund practices which many taxpayers may find morally offensive?
This is an interesting question, because I know some people find war morally offensive, and yet the government is bound by the Constitution to protect us, and that involves having a military and sometimes going to war and protecting us. And I know that there are people that oppose wars, but yet their tax dollars go to that. But yet they came into the situation knowing full well what the Constitution stated, what the government is supposed to do, and what the government has to do. There are other moral issues that I do not believe that the federal government should fund, because first of all, it's not within the Constitution, and if anything, they should go to the states. But so you have to look at that particular question maybe on a couple of fronts.
Do you support term limits?
I originally was not sure about term limits, because I've always thought, well, the people should be able to vote. And I know the 14th Amendment talks about due process, and it's kind of debated back and forth about term limits. But the more I get into the political process and the more I see some of the behind-the-scenes activities, yes, I am. I think term limits would be a good idea. I think at this point in our history, it's one of the few ways that we'll be able to control special interests and control this sense of disconnect between our legislators and our citizens, because they have been there for so long. So many, as a matter of fact, there's approximately 1,500 years worth of experience right now in the Senate alone. Yeah. And so where's that gotten us? So yes.
Name 3 ways you'd like to see used to restrict the influence of lobbies and special interest groups.
I think one of the ways would be term limits. I think that would help, because I think that if legislators become so comfortable in their position and they become so familiar and comfortable with lobbyists, it's easier to be influenced or strike deals, if you will. There's also an act, the Lobbyist Disclosure Act. If we would enforce what is there and oversee a little more carefully, I think that a lot of those issues could be resolved that way. I don't think we can do away with lobbyists, because some believe that they are protected under the First Amendment with due process they can present to the government. So I think we have to be very careful in who we elect, to make sure that we elect people with integrity, and that we know would not be bought, would not sell their votes.
Do you support a law that would require constitutional justification for every bill in an actual bill?
I think that's a very good idea. There is a bill right now being proposed called the Enumerated Powers Act, and I believe it was put forth by some legislator from Arizona. Congress is going to do pretty much what Congress is going to do. And even if we did do that, which I think is a wonderful idea, to put within a bill where constitutionally that bill would be allowed, I believe that we need to make sure that we have elected officials that believe in the Constitution, that will support the Constitution. And yes, while this is an excellent idea, I don't know necessarily that it would keep Congress from doing things that weren't prescribed in the Constitution for it to be able to do. But it would help. And yes, that's fine. I think it's a good idea. But I think it's a better idea if we scrutinize the candidates and make sure that we are electing people that will uphold the Constitution.
What experience and qualifications do you possess that make you the best choice for this position?
I believe that I am a thoughtful, common sense thinker. The Senate body is a more deliberative body of the two houses of Congress, and I like to do that. I like to deliberate and think about what I'm doing, think of long-term repercussions, not just short-term feel-good kinds of things. And having raised 3 teenagers to productive adulthood, and having lived these many years, I think that that counts for something, for life experiences. And like I say, coupled with my common sense, I would have no trouble making hard decisions. And I think I have a perspective on life, and a perspective that enables me not to be impressed with fame and fortune, but to do the right thing. I have always tried to do the right thing and instructed my children the same way. And so that's why I think I am the right choice. Plus, I think I am good to be whoever the Democrat nominee would be.
And finally, what do you think your primary responsibility in office would be?
Well, to read the legislation, to represent my constituents, to do what is right for the United States as I see it, to advise the President, to read, to study the bills, to say yes or no to whoever he is nominating to appointments, especially to the Supreme Court. Mostly to read the legislation and keep on task of what is going on legislative-wise.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I would like to ask people to go to my website and check it out at KathleenThomasForSenate.com and see what I have to say there. And if they like what they see, pass it on to a friend. It's a very grassroots effort.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.